as we mentioned, we're both Gamecock fans, and I got to go to the senior day game and watch them against Georgia. Can anyone beat them? I guess is the better question. Can they win? I mean, would you take Carolina or the field?
Carolina, no question about it. Okay, so I've unmuted myself. I'm sharing my screen again. So yeah, let's look at this. Yeah, like I say, they've got a 91% chance to make the Final Four. I mean, that's just crazy. So the first time they're going to run into anything like trouble is going to be Stanford. Their odds when Stanford shows up goes from 91% to 76%.
And that would be one of the teams that would scare me.
Yeah, we played it. We went to Stanford and won this year, but Stanford was better for a chunk of that game. It was definitely a scare for sure. The game went to overtime. But when they match up, it's saying South Carolina has an 81% chance to beat Stanford on a neutral site.
That is incredible because I know Stanford's got Cameron Brink, who's had an incredible season. She's averaging 15 and 10 with 3.5 blocks. Haley Jones is still there. She does everything at a high level except shoot. That's a really good team. That's probably the number one team that scares me.
South Carolina's got an 82% chance to beat Indiana.
Yeah, they've had an incredible season, but I'm going to have to see it to believe it with them.
Virginia Tech, if it turns out to be them, 87% chance for South Carolina to win that. So yeah, Stanford is definitely the biggest obstacle, and it's still a 4 out of 5 chance to win that game against Stanford.
What about UConn? That's the second team that worries me.
So where is UConn?
UConn is going to be in Seattle 3. Yeah.
Okay.
They got to do something better with these region names.
So UConn's only got okay, sorry, I shouldn't have clicked that. They have a 44% chance to make it to the Final Four, so that's very good odds. 20% chance to make it to the title. They might actually be the second favorite. Let me run the numbers on them.
Because they played us really tough back in February. And they don't have Paige Beckers, obviously, and they didn't have Azzy Fudd at the time, but she came back for their conference tournament. And if she can get rolling, she was averaging like 1 million points per game at the beginning of the season before she got hurt. And they already gave us more hell than I really wanted us to have without her.
So it's given South Carolina an 84% chance on this one. Like I said, it's not going to factor in the
Fudd getting back in the rounding back into shape.
It's only looking at them as the total product of what they did this year, but still 84% chance to win that one. UConn's odds themselves to win the whole thing, 23% chance to win the whole tournament. Is that right? Well, that's if they make it that far. 23% chance to make the final, or 5% chance to win the whole tournament, 23% chance to make the final. So yeah, that's probably your second favorite, but yeah, even them, it looks like nobody's laying a glove on South Carolina.
Which there is some concern on my part, like if Aaliyah Boston and Camila Cardoso get into foul trouble early, and Cook and the perimeter players are off because they've been streaky, and we're playing like a Stanford or UConn, which obviously that wouldn't happen until the finals. I'm concerned about that, but I mean they're undefeated. They've been so locked in all season
and played a good schedule. The way that teams have tried to beat us is to load up the paint and make us shoot and play zone. Most teams have tried to play zone against us. And even when we can't shoot, we still win those games. Even when our perimeter shot's not falling, we still win those games. And our perimeter shooting has gotten a lot better, I feel like. Bree Beal hits her shots more often than not when she's wide open. Zia Cooks started to hit her shots. When we face that zone, Camilla and Aaliyah Boston I feel like they've gotten better at that high-low thing you've got to do with your two post players to beat the zone. So I feel like the one of the years that we were really, really good when we had Herbert Harrigan, she would hit that mid-range shot and you just really couldn't play zone against us because she just nailed her shot every time she got it. And I don't know that we have that player that's that consistent of a shooter, but we've got enough to beat the zone, you know. And like you say, everybody's played zone. Everybody's done the same thing against us. A lot of teams have stuck with us for a half because of that, but, you know.
It really, playing zone, to me, kind of plays to our advantage because if we're missing long-range shots, then we're getting offensive rebounds.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really hard to defensive rebound out of a zone.
Yeah, so at one point this year, that's a very good point. At one point this year, we were getting 47% of possible offensive rebounds.
Like a missed shot is an assist, basically.
I know.
That's how I played. You want it, big fella? Get it off the rim.
Yeah. So, nobody has the size that we have. Nobody certainly has the skilled size that we have. The perimeter players are, to put it lightly, good enough. You know, I mean, that's putting it very lightly. Very deep, very deep team. Raven Johnson has turned out to be fantastic. She's a lot of fun to watch out of Atlanta, Westlake High School. She's turned out to be maybe the most fun player to watch. I mean, certainly effective ball handler and passer and all that, but just brings a lot of energy. Yeah. I don't see, Stanford's going to give us a game, but I'll be very, very surprised if we don't bring home another title.
And you mentioned the depth. So we've got 10 players averaging 10 plus minutes per game. And you mentioned the schedule too. Like, that's 10 plus minutes a game against your out of conference opponents of Stanford, of UConn. And then you come in conference. LSU, they played a cupcake out of conference schedule, but they're a tough team. Made them look like they did not belong on the court. Tennessee, they're tough. The SEC is a stacked conference, and it was the out of conference schedule was even tougher than the in conference schedule. I mean, playing UConn in February.
Yeah.
So you've got all this depth that's battle tested against good teams, so that if the nightmare scenario for me comes to fruition, like, they're not just out there for the first time and you're hoping, oh, I hope a Raven Johnson can figure it out on the fly. Like, you've seen it in person.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I will still say the best team that we've ever had was that COVID year team that sadly did not get to play.
Yeah.
And they were probably going to face Oregon and Sabrina Ionescu. So that not only were you getting the school's all-time best team, they were going to face a very legitimate contender. I think this is our second best team after that team, though. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, just based on like skill and experience combined. And seeing Aaliyah in person really made me appreciate her even more because she's triple teamed, double and triple teamed. Yeah. And she still is able to use angles and everything to get rebounds and score easy buckets against 2 and 3 defenders. And I was just like, man, she's going to be a monster at the next level because I think she's shown like just a little bit offensively just based on Dawn's system, which is like we've got to limit what you do so that we can raise up everyone else, and it makes sense to do that. I think at the next level when she's able to really show everything she can do, I think she's going to be insane because she can shoot it. It reminds me a lot of the Michael Jordan joke, how the only person at UNC who could hold him under 20 was Dean Smith.
Yeah.
Like it's the same type thing here. And just watching her in person, I don't know how you stop her.
Yeah. So I also watched us play in person against Georgia. It was the game at Georgia. But she is, and Georgia actually for the first half, maybe the first 3 quarters, they did take her out of the game. Like she had certainly in single digits. I don't know that she even had a point the first half because they absolutely took her out of the game. But, you know, we inevitably figure it out. She inevitably gets her points. You know, the offensive rebounding is always going to be there for her. And Cardosa just amazing at that as well. I don't see how we can be stopped. I mean, it's not a guarantee by any means, but it's as close as you can get, I feel like.
Absolutely. All right. So
who is really quick? Asia or Aaliyah Boston? Who's the better all time?
Oh, I think I'm going to go Asia because she kind of came in and set the precedent where I think that like winning the first national title, that's going to make recruiting easier and everything else. Not that like if you win a national title, clearly you're recruiting well.
Yeah.
But she set that up so that it could be a little bit easier for Aaliyah. But that's really like that's the matchup I'm looking forward to at the next level.
That's going to be,
because
Asia is the more important player
of
all time. Like you said, she started hometown girl, started the whole thing. But as far as the act, just looking at it on the court, I really don't know. I mean, Aaliyah's like better in the post, strictly looking at post stuff. I feel like she's actually a better shooter, I think.
Really
she doesn't shoot a whole lot, but she hits her threes when she's wide open. Asia she was much better like a mid-range player. Like she could dribble and get her own shot that way sometimes, and Aaliyah doesn't really do that. But I don't know. I mean, it's a coin flip between the two. How many statues are we gonna end up building?
We're gonna need a lot. I mean, Dawn's got to get one. We'll name her AD pretty soon here, I'm sure. But Aaliyah's got to get like, that's a hell of a. I don't know how you pick because they're just both incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to those games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next level. All right. So we have got to discuss how we are scoring this bracket challenge.